wonderful warm welcome to Kenneth. Thank you so much for coming into Mayfair today to give us a background of you, your business, what you do, how you add value in this world, and can't wait for this podcast. So over to you, Kenneth.
Michael, thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me into Mayfair. You know, a little boy from Boksburg in South Africa. We don't get used to, well, we're not used to these really fancy digs. It's a pleasure. Look forward to having a chat with you about what we do, how we do it, and how we make other people's lives easier.
So before we go into the expertise and value that you add, can you give me a little bit of that journey that you've been on to get to where you are today?
I'll give you the nutshell version.
Fantastic.
It's an interesting journey. So clearly I was born. That's where we always start. My dad died when I was 11 years old, so never got to see him go.
Sorry.
I got shoved off to boarding school in year 5. My mother couldn't cope. She was an alcoholic. I then got moved across to high school boarding school. I was very upset with her at the time.
Wow.
Because she promised to bring me home. But obviously a single mother, it's a tough life. And you don't realize what they go through to get you through school. So boarding school was great. That's where I discovered that running a business is probably more my forte than working for a person, because I needed pocket money. I was a rower, so I had access from boarding school to the river, and I would cycle through the sweet district. So I bought sweets, brought the sweets back, walked around with my little Bob tea bag, which is a bank brand, and in it were sweets, and when it was finished you could zip it closed. So when I walked through the school corridors, they could see if my bag was open. I was open for business. My bag was closed, the sweets were done. That's when I discovered that it was nice to actually be able to earn your own money, because it's amazing how sugar is addictive. It's like at boarding school when you've got no pocket money and other people are drinking Fanta and you can't have Fanta and you just crave that Fanta. So left.
And what age were you?
I was 13.
13.
Yeah. So it was a case of necessity. I mean, they say necessity is the mother of invention, and it was. I needed sweets, I needed chocolate, and I needed my fizz. And then left school, got conscripted to the army. Not much I want to talk about. It wasn't pleasant. It's one of those things that everybody got to do. Most people got to do. If you were very clever, you went to university. I wasn't very clever. I was one of those guys. And then after the army, I came out. I went and worked in a construction company selling Hilti fasteners.
Okay.
Most people know the Hilti brand.
Yeah.
I had a problem with getting girlfriends. Okay, and there's a reason I'm going to share this. So I could never ask a girl out. I was terrified of speaking to girls. I'm sure I'm not the only guy who's ever had that problem. And then when I was there, working at Hilti, reading through the paper, decided I need to find a girlfriend, I need to figure out how to do this thing. There was a job ad for dance instructors, ballroom and Latin dance instructors. No experience required. Those were the key words, no experience required. I applied for the job. There were clearly hundreds of people. I had an aptitude for being able to pick up dance steps really quickly. Had to learn the guy steps and the girl steps, because you can't teach if you can't do it backwards, kind of thing. And became a ballroom and Latin dance instructor.
Wow.
Then I learnt that it's the only profession, I think, where you can hold a different woman in your arms every half an hour. And it's okay. It's all good. And that taught me how to speak to women, because obviously I have to do that thing. And I discovered that I have a knack or a requirement that if there's something I can't do, I need to teach it. So I'm going to go from I can't dance to teaching dancing.
Wow.
At school, I couldn't speak because I would stand up in front of the class in standard 8, which would be year 10, and my voice broke as I started speaking to the class to do my public speech. I sat down in the corner and stayed in the corner for the rest of school, so I couldn't speak publicly. That was just never going to happen. Needless to say, I learned to speak on stage. Again, somebody threw me up on stage. They said, "Oh, I can't talk right now. We're launching a new product. You're it." And they left. I was like, okay, right, cool. Yeah. So I got up. I did the speech. There were 170 companies in the room. I launched the product. It went well. It was all great. And I went, I can do this.
Yeah, wow.
So then we started, I grew from there. And then after construction, ballroom dancing, construction equipment again, then chemicals, credit cards, real, legit credit cards. We manufactured credit cards and sold them to the banks, not illegal credit cards, just to be clear on that. Filing systems, document storage systems, all the time. In the back of my head, I've always wanted to be a guy who provides a solution to a business. I didn't quite know how that worked. And my knack is joining dots.
Okay.
I can see where people can fit together, where a solution can fit in and tie it in. So I worked with archives, I worked with software, I worked with BIOS protection, antivirus. So I went like literally from construction equipment to antivirus and pretty much everything in between.
Sure.
Then this thing happened called the web. I was there before the web. I'm one of those BC guys, before computers. And it just opened up a whole new world. In South Africa, it was a bit late. We got it. We started selling websites, and we started trying to think about this thing that people called the digital divide, which was between the haves and have-nots again.
Yes.
Same conversation. You've got people who've got entrepreneurial flair and skill, but do not have access to the knowledge to unpack the digital. Or so we were told by the corporate world.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't believe it. My partner at the time, Brett, didn't believe it either. We were down in Durban on the beachfront, and we were walking. It was the advent of the smartphones. Samsung D900s were the rage. We were walking down there thinking, how are we going to get the curio salespeople online? And the Bailey lady, so there's these African ladies who've got these long rings around their necks, so they extend their necks, and then they've got them on their arms and their legs. She's sitting there with all her wares, and she flips out a Samsung D900. And I'm going, okay. So now we're watching this. And she's doing an MMA, she's taking pictures, very at home at the technology. Wait, she's at home with the technology, and everybody in the sort of the corporate strata are telling us they're not. Yeah. So we built some software. We knocked over Vodacom's MMS server because we launched a little way that you could send in an SMS, get messages and video clips back down to the phone. We played with that tech. It evolved to the point where we had people at curio sites in a position where they could take a picture on their phone. They could text that picture to their website, into a shopping cart, and that's kind of where that came from. And that was all born from dance lessons, credit card sales, all of those little bits and pieces, seeing where these dots joined.
Not taking no for an answer, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how we got into SEO.
Yeah.
We got told we're no good at SEO. So we built this awesome web tool. We went to this company. I'm not going to mention their name because I don't like them. And they took our money and they said, we'll get you to page 1 of the search engine. And we're like, okay. We paid them for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, nothing had happened. And they said, well, you're too stupid to be able to do this. Well, we wrote the software that not happening. So we did some research. We concluded a contract with Yellow Pages, which is a really big directory in South Africa. Sure. We provided all the content to them, and we got 4,000 page 1 rankings on Google using our own brains. That's when we realized that because of our practical experience on the ground, we may not be an agency as standard, but we've had, you know, when you're out on the field selling stuff, you pick up things, there's nuances, and you get that different view of the business.
Absolutely.
And then all digital was just actually a framework that we could bolt that on. And needless to say, we did Facebook, we did SEO, we did Twitter, we're trying Instagram. I don't personally like Instagram, but my team does. We'll leave it at that. And then there's this thing called LinkedIn, which I thought was really stupid.
At the beginning?
Yep.
And how long ago was the beginning for you?
So I paid attention to LinkedIn, actually paid attention to it, June last year.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And then you went like the dancing.
Right.
From 0 to 60.
Instantly.
Wow.
It just made sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, LinkedIn came to us in 2012, and I'm like, LinkedIn, why? It's just another database. Yeah. It's just another place. It's like Facebook. Yeah. But Facebook is more fun. LinkedIn is terrible. Yeah. And LinkedIn's only for people looking for work, and I wasn't looking for work. Sure. I've been unemployable since 98. So you get the term, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just, no, LinkedIn is stupid. Who does LinkedIn? And then, we had this thing called COVID, which kind of changed business.
Yes.
It forced me to pivot. I've got a team of people that I have to feed. You understand,
I do.
regardless of the environment,
Absolutely.
you still need to find the revenue.
Absolutely.
So COVID made me go, okay, it's time to breathe, step back. How do we fix this so that we don't have this problem again, ever? If something goes wrong, I don't want to be in a position where I can't find business. I looked at this thing called LinkedIn. I spoke to a couple of people. There are a lot of people on LinkedIn who think they are above it, so they won't share excuse me, their knowledge. And I like to share. Okay? I've learned stuff. I'll share it happily. In our company work on the basis is we'll teach you everything for free. But if you want us to execute, we'll charge.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, I'm happy to tell you what my learnings are, my experience. Take it and use it.
There's the value.
Yeah. And I do that. I run free digital marketing training sessions and have done so with 3M in South Africa all the time that I've been in digital, because people don't get digital. They don't understand. They think it's like snake oil. They think SEO is like, ooh, like voodoo. And it's not. It's just, it's really simple marketing. The only thing that you're doing differently is you're using a structured framework. And the other day somebody said to me, SEO is dead. And what they don't understand is, as long as there is a computer with an algorithm that needs to index something, that's SEO. So on LinkedIn, there's SEO. On Instagram, there's SEO. On Twitter, there's SEO. It's a hashtag, it's a word, it's a name, it's SEO. So how can SEO die if we're using algorithms to present content to people?
So what you're saying really is that there's the foundation platform, and out of it, all the apps like Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn all come from that.
They all come from language. Basic language. We have a need. We start by asking a question to solve that need.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are words. Now those words include video, they include emotions, they include songs, but they still boil down to words and language. You have a language that you use when you talk to your customers.
Yes.
Your customers have their own language. That is basic SEO. Then there are a lot of nuances that come onto it, but most people don't even get the basics.
Okay.
Yet they're paying somebody $500 a month to have SEO done. I got a new American client, and I'm using her as an example. She'd been paying $500. I said, show me the invoice. So she showed me the invoice. It was an invoice for $500, and it had a title of SEO. I said, so what are you getting? So I'm paying the money every month. I said, yeah, but what are you getting for it? There's no deliverables, no backlinking, nothing. And then they sent her the Google report. I'm going, you're not, again, sold down the river, giving digital people a bad name. LinkedIn, same place. You talk to people, and you want to learn. You want to, having a conversation with you is great for me, because you've got years on me and experience that I've never been exposed to. So when I get exposure to something like that, all I want to do is kind of plug my fingers into your brain and suck all of that out, because it's learning.
That's a great way of putting it.
And that's what we use. And then, so you take all of that and you go back and you go to people and you go, okay, you've been ripped off. Right, okay, how do I fix that? Well, I've got to educate you. But how can I educate you if you can't see me? And one of the challenges I had was, what do you call me on LinkedIn? Because digital marketing is what everybody does. I went to countless networking events and guys go, I'm in digital marketing. So what do you do? Do you do digital strategy, email marketing, conversion rate optimization, SEO, LinkedIn, Facebook, paid? What do you do? And then they would go, oh no, we put ads on Facebook. I go, you're not in digital marketing. You create content for Facebook. There's a little bit of a difference. That's like saying I'm in sales when all I do is sit at the house all day and drink coffee. There's no connect.
Yes.
And slowly but surely I've realized that there are a lot of people who are digital marketeers that are not. And then out of that, I've now become a digital visibility specialist, because if I can't see you, I can't do business with you.
Of course.
And LinkedIn, in my opinion, and I think 800 million people would agree with me, because that's roughly how many people are on LinkedIn and growing. I mean, there's 35 million people in the UK on LinkedIn alone, give or take.
That's a great area to explore. So just deep dive on that at the moment. So it's 800 million worldwide. Did you say
35, 37 million in the UK.
Okay. And so out of those people, do you have reports on the sort of levels of usage? So out of the 35 million, you have, for example, 10 million people doing 90% of the posts, for example. Is it that type of?
It's horrible.
Really?
1%
Really?
are actually actively engaging on LinkedIn.
1% of 35 million.
1%.
So why are the other?
They don't know how.
Okay.
So I did a post the other day, and LinkedIn is about you, not me.
Yes.
LinkedIn is about how can I help you? What problem am I solving for you?
Yes.
Then you look at LinkedIn and people are going, ooh, look at my award. Ooh, look how great I am. Ooh, look how amazing I am. People are probably going to hate me for this, but it's not about you. It's about your customer. So why is everything on LinkedIn about you? Why are you telling me about the awards you've won? Why aren't you telling me about the awards your customers have won because of what you've done for them? So that's the mindset. And when people approach it from, it's all about me, they're like, well, I can't talk about me anymore because I've told you everything about me.
Sure.
But when I talk about you and the problems you have, so your business, what is the challenge you have? How are you solving your challenges and how can I help you solve that? Then LinkedIn takes a different frame set. And if you add on to that, when I say most, the stats range between 60 to 85% B2B researchers are looking at LinkedIn before they engage with a company. So I've had a lot of conversations where people turn around and go, but my target audience is not on LinkedIn. Okay, you run a business, you offer a business service, and you're telling me out of 37 million people, you can't find customers.
Wow.
Okay,
yes, sure.
Good. Yeah, move on. I'll find somebody else because I can find somebody else that I'm good. Because LinkedIn is, you don't have a gatekeeper. If I want to talk to somebody now, and if you stalk the people properly, and I'm sorry, but you do actually stalk people on LinkedIn, but there's an etiquette to it.
Of course.
Do it correctly, and you'll get engagement.
Okay.
You won't get caught by the gatekeeper. You won't get stopped. You won't get blocked to get to the person, but you've got to add value. You've got to show them how you're helping them help their customers. And then you go on, and the process is really simple. You find people you want to talk to, you follow them. So LinkedIn has made it really easy now. You click follow, then there's a little bell that pops up. You click on the bell, and every time that person posts on LinkedIn, you get a notification. So now I'm stalking you, but you're telling me when I should stalk you.
Okay.
So now you make a post. I go look at the post. I go, that's good, I can relate. And then I write a comment. Not awesome post. How are you adding value to you? Also, when we have dinner, do I go, that's nice. That's nice. It's like those videotapes where, you're not listening, right? Yeah. So same thing on LinkedIn. That's nice is the equivalent to, So
Okay.
rather go, interesting insight. So tell me a bit more.
Yes.
4 words or more. When we have a conversation, we ask each other a question.
We do.
Right. So we get that conversation going.
Yes.
Then the person on the other end goes, oh, yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. And then they'll make a comment and you start talking. And more often than not, when that conversation engages, they will reach out to you and connect. Then you go, hey, let's have a Zoom, let's have a coffee.
That sounds very smart,
And simple.
but it also sounds very simple.
Yeah. And for a salesman, cold calling is cruel. I used to sell encyclopedias.
Sure.
I got chased by my fair amount of dogs. Some of them caught me. It's not a pretty sight. But knocking on those doors, every salesman, I don't care who you are, dreaded that initial knock knock. Now you've got to pick up the phone.
Yep.
Have you ever done cold calling in the UK lately? It's terrible.
Yes.
Nobody wants to talk to you.
Yes.
And I get cold calls, and I've decided to be polite to them because I know it's a rough job. But had they taken the time to stalk me on LinkedIn, they would have seen, am I suitable or not? Do I want to have a conversation or not? Am I a prospect? Good, we can do the conversation and have the business. Everything's there. I get requests from companies asking me to do what I do as a business. You're going, wait, did you just look at my profile? Did you read anything? And you go, no. And then you go, why?
Yes.
I've given you all my information. So if you want to run a business and you want to, grow your business, you need to find a market. You've got zero budget. You've got time. And most entrepreneurs, the one thing they do have is time. If they're honest with themselves.
Sure.
Not if they're trying to be busy all the time, but if they're honest, they can sit on LinkedIn, they can prospect their exact customer. And LinkedIn is awesome because when I find you as my perfect customer, down the right side, there's a little bar that says people who match that look like this, almost like people who bought this also bought this. And there are all your targets.
Wow.
Companies, details, you can follow, you can engage. It's a salesman's dream. And that's just from the prospecting side.
And so just to drill down about that sort of strategic view of this particular strategic marketing view, when you look at a website, clearly in the world of business, a website is for the business, whereas LinkedIn is personal. Correct?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's one of those ja-nee South African answers. Yes and no.
Ja-nee.
Yeah,
I've
ja-nee.
learned a new word.
So if you speak to South Africans, we love to say things like ja-nee, which is yes or no, or later. We'll see you later. Or nana. When is nana? Nana is when nana is. It could be in 5 minutes, could be in an hour, it could be in 2 days. So LinkedIn from a personal brand is critical. But from a business point of view, it's becoming more important that a business page looks the part.
Okay, so recently and past, it's been about personal.
Yes.
And now it's shifting or evolving.
Evolving to include. So if you're a thought leader on a subject,
yes.
Okay, if I go to your website and I read up on your website, there I almost treat your website as a money page. It's a transactional space.
Okay.
We're going to do business there because I'm expecting to give you something, data, my name, something so we can engage.
Okay.
When I look at LinkedIn, I'm looking for information on who you are, how good you are, what people say about you. Are you a thought leader in the space? So if we're talking loyalty programs,
sure.
Okay, are you innovative? Have you written content that makes me go, gee, I never thought about that? Or are you simply saying, yeah, you got to do this, to do this, do this. Are you another one or a me too? And if you are, well, then I'm going to move on because LinkedIn will show me other people like you.
Yes.
If you aren't, then me wanting to engage with you, the reason to engage with you just goes up. You've got a good looking website and it doesn't need to be amazing.
Sure.
As long as I can find it,
yes.
I can read the content and the content is relevant, great.
Okay.
You've done your SEO, which most people also haven't done, great. But then when I go and look at the people, so...
Because people are businesses, aren't they?
They are. I mean,
businesses don't run themselves.
No, people forget that when we do business with each other, even though it's HP and Microsoft, there's a person talking to a person,
yes.
shaking hands with a person. It's not AI, it's a person. And if I like you, it doesn't matter who you are or what your company is, we'll do business.
Sure.
But it does help a lot if I recognize you because you're an influencer online. So if I phoned you and I said, hi, it's Steve Jobs from Apple, I'd like to have a meeting. The answer is going to be, sure, please come in.
Sure.
But if I phoned you and I said, hey, I'm Jeff from Peach Mobile. Sorry, who's Peach Mobile?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where LinkedIn as a personal brand, as a thought enabler, so making you a thought leader is really powerful. If you are a little person in a big company and you want to get noticed, same thing. LinkedIn becomes that thing where you can make a noise, and just as a worker, you want to work your way up, you can connect with all the CEOs, you can follow them. When you write content, they're going to see your content, which means as a job seeker, you can get promoted and fast-tracked by simply working LinkedIn to improve your chances of being seen. If there's 3,000 people or 26,000 people in a multinational company, how do you get noticed? You go to LinkedIn and you'll get noticed. So that's that. So I get excited, maybe a little bit, but
and we want to do business with enthusiastic, personable, giddy people because they're enthused and motivated and about their business. So It's almost like saying that if you want to have a dive into the world of business and you've got a problem that you need fixing, then one of the first things that you would do and you should do, and in the olden days, that might be having a network of people that you might want to go and ask, does anybody know this person?
Absolutely.
And then that person might refer you.
Absolutely.
And then the only way to find out about that person pre-computers was by meeting them and saying to them, what have you done in the past?
Exactly.
What you're saying is you can do that without anything else by going on the computer,
Yes.
going into LinkedIn, looking at those people, the backstories there, recommendations, activity, all of those things are there.
Yes.
And people should be doing that.
And remember, they're people. So you say hello.
Okay.
So if I connect with you and I say hello back. Not
So the same protocols in real life.
as a normal network. I look at LinkedIn now as a 24/7, 365 network party. I'm connecting and making friends with people in Mauritius, in Florida, in Scotland. Just in South Africa, I would never have had a network that big. Yet now, because of LinkedIn, I'm meeting amazing people. And I can actually have a conversation with, I got to meet the number 3 at Google, simply because I went, hey, I wonder if you'll talk to me. So I reached out to him on LinkedIn. We connected.
Wow.
We had a conversation. I couldn't get to that person
No.
any other way.
No.
And the knowledge that I could extract helped me grow personally and allowed me to share that with other people. So old school networks were, if I knew you, I had to meet you, and then we knew each other. We could go into that network. Now on LinkedIn, I can meet those people, and if, like you say, we're friendly, we're passionate, we talk to each other, we get along, we'll get into a group, we'll have a networking session. Sooner or later, we'll meet in real,
Sure.
but we get along. And if we don't get along, it's okay. It was a 5-minute Zoom call. It's not the end of the world. There's 800 other million people that I could meet. So it's fine.
So what limitations do you think that LinkedIn has?
Honestly, their education is very poor.
Wow, okay.
Their own personal education is very poor. That being said, if it weren't for their poor education, the whole LinkedIn trainers wouldn't exist.
Okay.
And it's, you got people who are always trying to beat the algorithm, and they forget. When we meet each other, we get along with each other. Whether you're on Google, whether you're SEO, whether website, Facebook, anything social. It's, do I like you? Do you like me? Do we share something? Can we have a conversation? And sometimes I've had to work hard to have a conversation, and it was only one conversation. But more often than not, the conversations just roll.
Sure.
Because I'm not trying to sell you something.
Of course.
I want to meet you. When somebody books a call on LinkedIn and they try and pitch you, so the first thing they go is, hi, Michael, I have this amazing business card. You go, wow, that's awesome. Sorry, I have another call. I have a call in 5 minutes. And you end it because they've forgotten the basic rules of networking. You don't walk into a network
Sure.
and say, hi, this is my product. Would you buy it?
Sure.
What do? You walk away, right?
Sure.
And there are thousands of posts on LinkedIn about networking. So you would think people would get it?
Sure.
They don't.
No.
But I mean, you've been to networking sessions, right? Like
Many.
all the time. How often do you see people go to a networking session and don't work the room, stand there in the corner and just...
And you wonder why they're there.
They're passing the time.
Yeah.
What was the point?
Yeah.
And if you would just bring the basics of real world networking to LinkedIn and share your value, share what is your story. I mean, we had a chat before.
Sure.
Your story is very powerful. Share that with people, because there are people out there who need that relational aspect where they can go, you know what, so I'm not the only one like that.
Sure.
Because mental wellness is a problem these days.
Yes.
There are a lot of entrepreneurs who are alone. They've got nobody to talk to. They've got no support structure. And LinkedIn provides that. Not always right. And yes, everybody does charge. And there are a lot of people out to make a quick buck. But I mean, scam artists have been around since the 1400s. So
Sure.
that's not going to change.
So if somebody's listening to the podcast today and likes what they've just heard, who wouldn't, how do they get you? How can you explain how they would be able to find you and what it is they need to type
They
in?
look for the digital coach.
The digital coach.
On LinkedIn, they'll find me. Or they type in my name. I'm the guy with the orange background. So Kenneth Nel. My surname is a single L. November, Echo, Lima. Not two L's, please, because I see a lot of people put a K and a second L. So
Okay.
not Canal.
Okay.
But the digital coach, they'll find me with a big orange background and just connect with me. We're having conversations all the time, and we love meeting new people.
Fantastic.
Thanks. That's, yeah.
Well, that was amazing, guys, and we hope that you've got as much out of that as I did. And until next time, thank you.